Assalamu alaikum. I'm waiting for you all to join. Thank you, Shu, for posting the meeting details. Okay, so let's start, ladies. We have 20 attendees. Great. Who is the student of the month?
Bilqis.
Bilqis, congratulations, sweetie. Is she with us? She's not in? Okay, very good. Okay, so let's start our topic, which is marine ecosystems. This is chapter 15.4, and today we'll be doing page number 441 and 442, inshallah. So let's start with the verse from the Quran, which is related to this topic, which is regarding the it is mentioned in the Quran as to how the barrier is formed between two kinds of water, subhanallah. So this is mentioned in the Quran in chapter 33. In these verses, it is clearly explained that it is He who has released simultaneously the two seas, one fresh and one sweet, and that is one fresh and sweet and one salty and bitter, and He placed between them a barrier and prohibiting partition, subhanallah. And also it is Allah who released the two seas meeting side by side. Between them is a barrier, neither of them transgresses. So which of the favors of your Lord would you deny? Subhanallah. So this is the meaning of the verse, that if Allah can make a barrier between two waters, that though there are, for example, if you are trying to mix two types of water, they will definitely mix when we are trying to do it, isn't it? So it is only oil and water which don't mix. But again, this has been scientifically proven that if the densities of the water are different, meaning if one is fresh and one is salty water, they will not mix. And especially in this place where in the sea and the river are meeting at one place, though they are meeting, they do not mix, which is a miracle of Allah, subhanallah. So this has been stated in the Quran many centuries ago, wherein the oceanology or the science was not even was very, very primitive, and people itself were not educatedly about science. Okay, so we need to bring trust and bring faith in the Allah and the book of Allah, because whatever written in it is fact, as proven by the science today. So the objectives for this topic are to describe the types of ocean zones and also to explain how the coastal water contains unique habitats. Okay, so this KWL we did already. Let me ask you questions about the contents we covered in the last lesson. The key concept for this topic is marine ecosystems are global. So the ocean, it can be divided into many zones. So what are the four major oceanic zones we are discussing about?
Intertidal zone, aeratic zone, bathyal zone, abyssal zone.
Very good, thank you. They are the intertidal zone, the aeratic zone, the bathyal zone, and the abyssal zone. Okay, so these are the four zones into the ocean has been divided from the shore till the depth of the ocean. Who's going to explain about the intertidal zone?
It's like the shore, the strip of land between the low tide lines, and so it's just the shore of the sea.
Yes, Lean. And so do you see any aquatic animals in the intertidal zone? Do you find them?
There are animals such as crabs and crabs and shells.
Yes, crabs, and also the organisms like the jellyfishes, and sometimes you will also find what you call sea anemones. Okay, so all of these aquatic animals you will find in the intertidal zone. Thank you so much, Leen. So this zone is in the shoreline area wherein you go and when you visit the beaches. So this is the zone wherein you spend most of the time washing your legs and playing in the water. Okay, so which is the zone which comes next to the intertidal zone?
Aeratic zone.
Aeratic zone. Who's going to explain about aeratic zone?
Can I?
Yes, please.
It extends from the intertidal zone out to the edge of the continental shelf, and there some animals like plankton, zooplankton.
Yes, you will find the protists like the planktons and the zooplanktons in the aeratic zone. And how deep is it, the aeratic zone?
200 meters.
200 meters deep. Thank you so much, sweetie. So is the aeratic zone the zone in which you will find most of the aquatic life, or you will find in the next deeper zones?
No, this zone contains most of the living.
Why? What is the reason?
Sunlight strikes this area, and a lot of zooplankton.
Yes, because of the presence of the sunlight, the protists like the phytoplanktons, they photosynthesize, and the various other levels of consumers which depend on these phytoplanktons, like the zooplankton, the smaller fish and the larger fish which consume these. So this cycle of the food web is also present, the food chains and food webs in the aquatic ecosystem as well. And most of the aquatic animals, they dwell in this aeratic zone, especially because of the sunlight which penetrates in the aeratic zone. So can we give this zone another name depending upon the light availability or penetration?
Photic zone.
Photic zone. Excellent. It is also known as the photic zone, and it is the zone in which you will find most of the life in the ocean. Thank you so much. So which zone comes next after the aeratic zone?
Bathyal zone.
Bathyal zone. Who's going to explain about it?
Me.
Yes, please.
The bathyal zone, they extend from the edge of the zone to the base of the continental shelf. And also in this zone, the burrowing animals thrive. And the water in this zone is also characterized by being turbulent due to the accumulation of the salt. And also the fish can adapt living in this area with a high pressure.
Yes, very good. So you can see this is almost the bottom of the ocean. And how deep is it, Leon?
20 to 2,000 meters.
200. Yeah, 200 meters, which is an aeratic zone. So from 200 to 2,000 meters deep, this bathyal zone can be. Very good. The sunlight will not penetrate, so obviously this is the deep zone. And the fishes and the aquatic animals which are adapted to living in the areas of high pressure, they live in this zone. And you will also find burrowing animals thriving here. Right? Thank you so much, Leon. And how is the water pressure in this zone?
High.
It is very high, and the water is also turbid or murky due to the accumulation of the silt. As the water is not flowing as it does in the intertidal and a little in the aeratic zone as well. Mostly in the intertidal zone, there, because of the tides, most of the dirt, it is cleaned up. And also in the aeratic zone, there is a lot of light, so the water is clear. But comparatively in the bathyal zone, the water is more murky because it is dark and it is deep. So which is the last or the bottom zone after the bathyal zone?
Abyssal zone.
Abyssal. So who's going to explain about it?
No.
Yes, please go ahead. The ones who did not speak so far.
It's the deepest zone, and it has no sunlight.
Yes.
And the chemosynthetic organisms are living there, like from the base of the food web. And there are no much photosynthetic organisms live there.
Yes, they don't live there obviously because there is no sunlight. How deep is this zone?
It's the deepest zone.
It is the deepest zone. Very good. So you can say it is below 2000
Below
meters.
2000, yes.
Yes, till 2000 it is the bathyal zone. So it is more deeper, deep down, deep dark, the deepest zone below 2000 meters. Yes, and which type of organisms do you find here?
Chemosynthetic.
Yes, the chemosynthetic organisms are found here, which are the base of the food webs at the deep sea vents. And I was asking one more question. So do you see a lot of organisms compared to the aeratic zone and the bathyal zone in the abyssal zone, or are they less or more?
They are not living there.
They are less compared to the aeratic zone, and of course also the bathyal zone, right? So the organisms that live in this zone, they make their own light, much as the fireflies. Okay, so can how can we describe such animals which make their own light?
Bioluminescent.
Bioluminescent. And what is the purpose? Why do they make light?
To attract mates.
To attract the mates and the prey. Thank you so much, ladies. That was very well recapped. So this is about the 4 zones we covered in the last lesson, and we also discussed as to why life exists in the aeratic zone. So which type of organisms and fishes do you find in the aeratic zone?
Plankton.
Yes, starting from the planktons, which can photosynthesize, and zooplanktons. The phytoplanktons are the one exactly like the plants which photosynthesize, and the zooplanktons, they feed on the phytoplanktons, and various other small and large fishes, the whales and the sharks, all of them, they are present in the aeratic zone, because the life is in the the life starts from the base, which is the photosynthetic plants. So still there, the other or consumers which depend on those plants, and the various trophic levels are present in the aeratic zone. And we were also discussing about the whales, isn't it? Whales are also present in this zone itself. And okay, that's it about the life in the aeratic zone. We were discussing as to how the coastal waters are unique habitats, isn't it, ladies? Did we start discussing about this?
No.
Okay, great. So let's start from here. We are on page number 442 from your textbook. So the shallow coastal waters that make up the aeratic zone, they contain much more than plankton, much more planktons which photosynthesize. The 2 highly diverse habitats found within these coastal waters are coral reefs and kelp forests. So apart from the planktons which you find there, you will also find 2 other habitats, which are the the coral reefs and the kelp forests. So do you know about the corals? Do you know about them, Lean? Can you tell us?
They're found in the Bahamas, in the islands of the Caribbean.
And
they consist of animals.
Yeah, so when we are saying a coral reef, is it a rock?
It's made of thin layer of calcium carbonate.
Yes, very good. It is made up of calcium carbonate, but it forms as hard substance as rock, and it gives meaning, you can say it is a home to various aquatic animals. Okay, so various kinds of small fishes and all types of organisms like sea anemones and jellyfishes and octopuses, they live in these reefs. Okay, so they provide the habitat for various sea animals or aquatic animals to live in them. So this is a habitat which is also in the aeratic zone. It is known as the coral reefs. So this is how they look like. They almost are like rocks or the mountains under the water. Okay, ladies, these are the sea anemones, and these are the various fishes which are living in the coral reefs. And the next habitat mentioned over here is kelp forests. What do you know about kelp forests already? Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay. So this is the kelp forest picture which you can see. They are mostly made up of the plant, you can say the aquatic plants. Okay, so they are not as hard as the coral reefs. They are not rocks actually, but they are thick plants itself, like the forest that you see on the earth. Similarly, you will find these plants growing under the water. Okay, so sometimes they are a very big type of plants. That is why the name kelp forest has been given. Kelp is the name given to the aquatic plants. Okay, ladies, so these two are the other types of diverse habitats which you find in the shallow coastal waters, especially the neritic zone, the second zone in the ocean. So starting with the coral reefs, they are found within the tropical climate zones. Okay, they are found in the tropical climates itself, mostly. And in this area, water temperatures, they remain warm all the time. And a coral reef may be home to about 50 to 400 species of corals, along with hundreds of other species including fishes, sponges, and sea urchins. Okay, so many types of aquatic animals, they live in these coral reefs, and obviously because it is the neritic zone which is exposed to the light, the temperature of the water is quite warm during the daytime when it is exposed to the sunlight. And studies indicate that the biomass in coral reefs may be up to 1,000 times greater than the biomass in a similar area of the ocean that does not contain the reef. Okay, also there are a lot of plants like the plantains which grow in these reefs. They form a home because along with the because there are tiny places in between the reefs in which the phytoplanktons, they can grow, they can in these holes and all, in these gaps in between, the phytoplanktons grow, and the zooplanktons and the various other fishes, the sea urchins and all of them, they feed on them. So they form an habitat kind of a thing. So if there is a coral reef, there are more times the biomass, it is more greater compared to the areas where there is no reef. Okay, and also the corals are the coral reef is given the name given to this the structure made up of calcium carbonate, which is very hard like a rock. And corals basically are the kind of aquatic animals which live in these coral reefs. The corals are animals that have a mutualistic relationship with the algae. The corals, they provide a home for the algae, and algae provide nutrients for the corals as a byproduct of photosynthesis. So it is exactly like the mutualistic relationship we study in the lichens. So as we study that the lichens are a mutualistic relationship between what, ladies? Between the algae and the... What did we study about lichens in our previous topics?
And algae.
I'm sorry? It is a mutualistic relationship between algae and mosses, isn't it? The green plants, which are the mosses, they live with a mutualistic relationship with the algae. Both of them depend on each other and benefit from each other. Similarly, these corals, they have a mutualistic relationship with algae as well. So the algae, they grow in the corals, and both of them, they benefit, and they are as a byproduct of photosynthesis. So coral reefs are made mostly of the coral skeletal material, which packs together over thousands of years into solid structures. And coral reefs are also delicate, meaning though they are hard, they can also break easily because they are made up of calcium carbonate. And a change in conditions such as increased water temperatures or pollution can kill the algae in these reefs, which then starves the coral. So with global ocean temperatures on the rise, the coral reefs are in decline around the world. Okay, so these corals, as they form a mutualistic relationship with the algae, they are dying because of the very high temperatures and because of the water pollution, due to which the coral reefs, they are also declining a lot in the tropical areas, or the tropical areas wherein the coral reefs, they are found a lot. Ecologists, they are trying to reintroduce these diverse communities in some areas by making artificial reefs where organisms can find shelter okay, because naturally these are formed, and these are not formed over a short period of time. They are formed over years when this calcium gets accumulated into a reef kind of a strong structure, wherein over the years many aquatic animals they live, and the algae and the phytoplankton and the biomass it grows in it, and it forms a kind of a habitat for the sea animals. So this habitat it is being damaged and disrupted because of the pollution and because of the very high temperatures in the water. So the scientists they are trying to introduce the artificial reefs so that the habitats can grow back in these aeratic zones in the tropical areas. Okay, in addition, some shipwrecks and sunken oil rigs have become artificial reefs that can support fishes and other species associated with the coral reef. So basically, these aquatic animals, they need a structure to live in. They need a support system to live in. So sometimes the rat fish, the fish which like break in the water, or they sink in the water due to any accident and all. So such ratfish are also becoming home to various aquatic animals, and similarly the oil rigs also they have become exactly like the reefs, becoming artificial reefs supporting the various aquatic animals inside the water. Clear about the coral reefs, ladies?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, so you have this picture on your page number 442. This is the picture which you can see. So the ecologists, they are working to rebuild the coral reef ecosystems by building artificial reefs such as the network of cables onto which the corals can adhere. Okay, so can you see these are the scientists which are trying to build the artificial coral reef over here. They are just trying to make a mesh or a network over here onto which the various other algae and phytoplanktons can grow so that this can structure into a coral reef. Okay, because in these areas the coral reefs might have been damaged or disrupted due to various reasons. So they are trying to build artificial coral reefs, and this is the picture. You can see how they are trying to do it. Trivia time. Let me give you some information about these reefs. The Great Barrier Reef, the GBR, it is the largest tropical coral reef system on the earth. It is known as the Great Barrier Reef. It is roughly the length of Japan, stretching 2,300 kilometers along the northeastern coast of Australia. Okay, ladies, so it is present in Australia, this Great Barrier Reef, and it is roughly the length of Japan. So how big is it? It is 2,300 kilometers. It is present in the northeastern coast of Australia, and it is not a single reef, but it is a chain of reefs. It is a chain of over 3,000 reefs and 900 small islands. So 3,000 reefs have come together, and also there are 900 small islands in between, and they're formed into a huge network given the name as a Great Barrier Reef. Okay, where is it present? It is present in the northeastern coast of Australia. So it is the largest reef present on the earth so far. You may Google about it today, and you can check out the pictures and also tell me tomorrow what you found out about it. Okay, ladies, it is known as GBR, the Great Barrier Reef. Okay, so that's it about the coral reefs. Now let's talk about the kelp forests. These are the kelp forests. In contrast to the coral reefs, the kelp forests, they exist in cold, nutrient-rich waters, such as those found in California's Monterey Bay. They are not found in the tropical areas, but they are found in more colder conditions. Okay, they are found more in nutrient-rich waters because the plants, they need to grow, so they need nutrients. Also, the temperatures need to be cold, and they are found especially in the California Monterey Bay. And these forests, they are composed of large communities of kelp, which is a seaweed. And the kelp, they grow from the ocean floor up to the water surface, sometimes extending up to a height of over 30 meters, which is about 100 feet. Okay, can you see how long these kelps are? So that is why the name given kelp forest, they can be about 100 feet high or tall, right from the ocean surface coming up to the ocean's bottom, coming up to the surface of the ocean. Okay, they grow from the ocean floor up to the water surface about 100 feet in length, and kelp forests are areas of high productivity that provide habitat and food sources to many marine species ranging from tiny invertebrates to large mammals such as the sea lions. What are sea lions? The seals. Seals are known as sea lions, isn't it? These large aquatic animals which are present in the water, these seals, all of them, they feed on the kelps, and also they are home to fishes and all types of all of them. Okay, ladies, so the difference between coral reef and kelp forest is coral reef, they are present in more tropical areas wherein the temperatures are little warm. Okay, and whereas the kelp forest, they grow in more nutrient-rich water, cold waters, especially like California Bay, and they are home to a lot of aquatic animals. And as they form forest kind of an environment inside the water, growing 100 feet tall, they are given the name as kelp forest. You will not find it very commonly in all the areas. You will find only in a few areas like California, Monterey Bay, and maybe a few other places. Okay, and they also provide habitat to a lot of animals, starting from big animals like the sea lions to various other small animals. Okay, so this is about the coastal waters and the unique habitats the coastal waters contain. Any questions, ladies, about the coral reefs or the kelp forests?
No.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. What are the similarities between the coral reef and kelp forests? I told you the differences from just now. What are the similarities?
They both provide habitat for many living things.
Lena, are you saying they both are a home to a lot of aquatic animals?
Yes.
Yes, they provide home and nutrition and food for a lot of aquatic animals. So both are highly productive and support enormous biological diversity. Okay, ladies. So with this, we are done with this topic. Let me quickly summarize what all we covered in this topic today before we solve the worksheet. Okay, so we discussed about the various zones into which the ocean is divided into, depending upon the depth of the ocean and depending upon the light which penetrates the ocean. The ocean, it is divided into photic and aphotic zones, and it is also divided into pelagic and the benthic zones depending upon their deepness. Apart from these, the four major oceanic zones which we are studying or we are dividing the ocean into are depending upon the distance from the shore to the depth of the ocean. So these four zones are intertidal zone, the aeratic zone, the bathyal zone, and abyssal zone, about which we studied in detail, and as to how the habitat is in these four zones. Okay, and then we discussed about the life in the aeratic zone. As to most of the life, 70% of the aquatic animals, they live in the aeratic zone itself because of the presence of light. And due to light, the photosynthetic algae and the plants, they photosynthesize, and due to the presence of large biomass, the other consumers, they also feeding on these producers, they are all present in the aeratic zone. And we discussed the unique habitats in the coastal waters, which are the coral reefs and the kelp forests. Any questions, ladies?
No.
All clear? Okay, shall we move ahead and solve the worksheet then?
Yes.
All right, so take out your worksheet. This is worksheet number 21 on chapter 15, lesson 4, marine ecosystems. So let's solve this worksheet. Complete the following table by filling in the name of the ocean zone that best fits each description. So we have the description over here. We need to tell or identify which zone is it. Number 1, the depth is between high and low tide lines, and the description is organisms adapted to tolerate changing water levels, temperature, and salinity live here. Which zone is it?
Intertidal zone.
Yes, it is the first zone, which is the intertidal zone. Okay, number 2, the depth is between 0 to 200 meters and description extends from the intertidal zone to the edge of the continental shelf. So which zone is it?
Aeratic zone.
Very good. It is the second zone, which is the aeratic zone. The third description is it is 200 to 2000 meters deep and it contains murky water and fish adapted to high pressure are present over here and there is little or no sunlight at all. Which zone is it? Very good. It is the bathyal zone or the bath mat zone. Finally, number 4, it is below 2000 meters and no sunlight penetrates here. The deep sea vents with chemosynthetic organisms and also some organisms make their own light in this zone. Which zone is it? The fourth zone, the deepest zone, abyssal zone. Okay, these are the names of the 4 zones. Let's move on to question 5. Circle the letter of the phrase that best completes the sentence. The ocean zone that has the most biomass is the, which zone is it?
Aeratic zone.
Very good. It is the second zone, aeratic. Answer is B. Number 6. The organisms that carry out most of the photosynthesis on Earth are?
Phytoplankton.
Very good. They are the phytoplanktons. They not only provide oxygen to the sea or aquatic animals, but they also provide oxygen to the entire ecosystem. Number 7. Circle the word or phrase that best completes the sentence. Warm or cool temperatures are a primary characteristic of coral reef habitat.
Warm.
Warm, as we discussed that they are in the tropical areas, it is warm. Number 8. Warm or cool temperatures are a primary characteristic of kelp forests.
Cool.
Cool temperatures are required for the kelp forest to grow. Number 9. Kelp is a seaweed or a type of a plankton.
Seaweed.
It is a seaweed. Very good. Number 10. Photosynthetic planktons are called?
Phytoplankton.
What are they called?
Phytoplankton.
Very good. They are known as phytoplanktons. Number 11. Animal planktons are called?
Zooplankton.
Zooplanktons. Excellent. So these are the answers for your worksheet, which are very easy and simple. Do you have the answers? No, we don't have the answers at the bottom of the worksheet, but I've highlighted these answers and I'm saving them for your future reference. Let's also solve an MCQ worksheet for this topic. I believe I need to upload the MCQ worksheets for this topic, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Can someone please read out question 1 and answer it?
Can I?
Yes, please.
Species that can survive under high pressure and murky water have adapted to sea bathyal zone.
Yes. Very good. Murky water and high pressure, it is present in the bathyal zone. Excellent. Who's going to read and answer number 2?
Can I?
Yes, please. One by one, go ahead.
You want to answer, Lee?
Yes, the other girl who said me apart from Lean, please, because Lean already, yeah.
Okay. The producers that live in abyssal zone are chemosynthetic because this zone has no light.
Very good. Because this zone has no light at all. Excellent. Number 3. Who's going to answer number 3?
Can I?
Yes, please.
Zone. Which ocean zone contains by far the most biomass? The answer is aeratic. B.
Very good. It is B, the aeratic. Number 4. Who's going to answer?
Corals are a type of animal.
Corals are a type of animals, of course. Number 5. Who's going to answer number 5? Yes, ladies. Quickly volunteer.
In cold, nutrient-rich waters in the aeratic zone, plankton may live in kelp forests.
Very good. In cold, nutrient-rich waters in the aeratic zone, the planktons may live in the kelp forests. Excellent. So these are the answers for the MCQ worksheet. With this, we are done with 15.4. So we have only one last topic left for our term 1. With this, we are with the syllabus for the term 1, inshallah. After that, we shall do the revision for all the topics which are included in your mid-years first, and then whatever revision you want, inshallah, we should continue. So let's move ahead and start the next topic, which is estuaries and freshwater ecosystems, chapter 15.5. Let me open the presentation. Give me a moment. Okay. Please open page number 443 from your textbook. We are going to do today, I believe you can spell it eustaries or estuaries, however you want to. The title is Eustaries and Freshwater Ecosystems. This is chapter 15.5. Okay, ladies, so let's start with a verse from the Quran, which is about the freshwater ecosystems. Can someone please read out the verse in Arabic? Please.
Okay. قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين. And the translation is, indeed, my prayer and my worship, my life and my death are for the sake of Allah, the Lord of all the worlds.
Subhanallah. Thank you so much, Leen. So this is a verse from Surah Al-An'am and verse 162, according to which our aim in life is that all our prayers and all our worship and our life and death should be everything for the sake of Allah, who is the Lord of the world. Subhanallah. Do we have only 2 minutes left, ladies?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let me just read out the objective, or till then let me also assign research to you. I know if you have a lot of quizzes, if you are very busy, you need not do it. Only the girls who want to do it, I want to give a research to you. Also, you need not make any presentations or anything. If you want to present, you can just talk about it. So just Google about the eustaries, and you may, if you want to, about the freshwater ecosystems. But especially about the eustaries, I want you to research and give me information about what are the various types of eustaries, and which type of animals do you find in the eustaries and also the freshwater ecosystems. Okay, ladies. So this is the homework for the weekend. In the next week, inshallah, I will. You may present your research in any way if you want to. Clear? Any questions?